Our words of wisdom this morning come from the Christian text of 1 John 3:18. Let us love not in word or speech, but in deed. I want to change that word love to gratitude. Let us show gratitude not in word or speech, but in deed. And that's what I want to talk about this morning. As we approach Thanksgiving, this is a very difficult and challenging year for a lot of people who are highly anxious about gathering with family in this divided world, and many are skipping family celebrations this year. Yet, this is supposed to be a season of being thankful. And somehow the word thankful just did not resonate with me this year. I had a lot of problems with that. I have a lot of problems right now with that word of being thankful. So I went to the word gratitude. And I looked up gratitude and found that it comes from the Latin. And in Latin, it means pleasing and appreciative. And then I looked up several English definitions and I found a definition that really resonated with me for what I was looking for this year. Returning appreciation and returning kindness. For me, that definition made gratitude an action word, something I have to do, not just say, but do. In her meditation, Saying Grace, the Reverend Kathleen McTeal says, wise men and women from every faith teach that gratitude is the heart of the spiritual life because it leads to all the rest. It leads to action. I relate very strongly to Native American traditions and spirituality and culture. So quite often I turn to their traditions to read, and it brings me peace in lots of ways. Every morning I have a book called Finding Your Roots, and I read from that every morning. It's kind of like a devotion for me, and it really speaks to me. So I turn to the Native American indigenous people culture today to see what I can learn about gratitude. Gratitude is a very central place in the Native American culture. It's a vital role in their spiritual beliefs and daily lives. It's a value that is deeply ingrained and practiced across all tribes and all nations the same. The concept of gratitude resonates in their daily rituals, not just once a year, but daily rituals, ceremonies, prayers, songs, dances, storytelling, and the teaching that their ancestors hand down. These acts of gratitude are a way to acknowledge and honor the gifts and blessings that we receive from the natural world, from the Creator, and from each other. For example, I've told you the story about why the leaves turn beautiful colors in the fall. And it was a thank you. It was showing gratitude from the earth, the ground, for the leaves falling and protecting the ground all winter. So the ground made the leaves turn beautiful colors for their one last hurrah of the season. The color of birds was a thank you from a wolf that the birds helped save. The beautiful raccoon with his markings, that's a gift from the coyote and showing gratitude. So there are lots of stories in the Native American culture. And think about children growing up with all of these stories of gratitude. It's not just a fleeting feeling of appreciation once a year. It's a fundamental principle that's necessary for interconnectedness with each other. Native Americans also believe that gratitude plays a role in the healing process. It is believed that by expressing gratitude, it helps us to restore our own physical, emotional, and spiritual balance, and that it also helps the other person to whom you are showing gratitude to restore their physical, emotional, and spiritual balance by showing appreciation for your interconnectedness. Perhaps this method can help some of us who are struggling today with feeling whole and need some healing. Another quote that teaches gratitude comes from the Cherokee Nation. Don't let yesterday use up too much of today. Don't let yesterday use up too much of today. Emphasizes the importance of appreciating each and every moment and being grateful for the present rather than dwelling on past regrets, missed opportunities, or worrying too much about tomorrow. Like Native Americans, perhaps we too need to remind ourselves of that and that we are part of a larger web of life. We're interconnected to all beings in the natural world, and we have to work towards showing gratitude for the value of every living thing, from plants and animals to rivers and mountains and the people in our community, and express gratitude for their contributions to our existence by taking care of each other and taking care of the earth. Native American traditions teach us that gratitude is not only reserved for times of abundance and prosperity, but it's equally important during times of hardship and struggle. They believe that almost every experience, whether joyful or challenging, offers lessons and opportunity for growth, even though at the time it's almost impossible to see that. And their gratitude is not limited to material possessions or external circumstances. They cultivate an attitude of gratitude towards intangible things, such as love, kindness, wisdom, and they honor the contributions that others have to their well-being. We need to remember to show gratitude for the few of the people that we are grateful for. Someone who's had a positive impact in your life, or someone who really pushes and challenges you, or even a stranger who shows kindness. Show gratitude for those who are suffering and struggling, but also for those who are doing well. Living with conscious and intentional gratitude every day helps us notice the little wins, like the bus showing up on time, a stranger holding the door for you, or the sun shining through your window when you wake up in the morning. This Thanksgiving, take time to pause before the meal and remember all of the hands that work to get that food on that plate. From the farm workers to the truck drivers to the guy at the grocery. Those farm workers are going to be hit hard in the months ahead, and they need our gratitude. They need us to stand with them in gratitude. Gratitude for me today. I realize how lucky I am to be surrounded by you, my community, my supportive family and friends. I'm grateful that I'm not alone in the way I feel right now. Shared grief helps to foster hope. Nature always moves me, so I am so grateful and have gratitude for the eyes, ears, and nose that allow me to take in all of this beautiful world around me with all of my senses. And I must strive to do better to show gratitude to Mother Earth. I've been given today, and in gratitude, I need to make the most of this day. And at the end of the day, I'm going to have gratitude for my nice, comfy, cozy bed. What does gratitude feel like to you? How can you show gratitude daily without using words? How do you feel? What do you feel gratitude for in your life today? How do you feel when someone shows gratitude to you? Try to think outside of the box. What does gratitude mean to you? Open for thoughts and discussion.
There's so many things to be grateful for. There's big things, there's small things, there's tiny things that you might overlook. Like you said, your bed. My bed is a very important part of my life. It really is. I'm not trying to be funny. It's just
No,
in and it's always been that way because you work hard, you get tired, and you take care of the kids, and you work hard, you come home and do all that you do. And when you take your shower and lay down, I think that's supposed to be like the most comfortable feeling at the end of the day. So the bed should be like, I don't know, I like a lot of pillows. I like a fluffy down comforter. I like a lot of pillows, and I want the comforter to come over my head, I mean, to
yeah,
me that's like I'm and when I get in the bed, I say in my mind and sometimes a little quietly, thank you, Father. Thank you because everybody doesn't have a bed. And I think that's really important. And that's just one thing. That's just one. And you may say that,
yeah,
oh, it's just a bed. No, but it's a very important thing. Like taking a hot shower is very important. It's very comforting. And everybody don't have those things, have these things. And so those type of things I'm grateful for, the things that you might overlook because you do them every day and it's automatic and you get hungry, you go to open up the refrigerator, you get what you want. Grateful that there's something in there. Grateful
yeah.
that you have a refrigerator to put that food in. Just grateful that you have electricity. It's just a lot of things that are connected to be grateful for. It's just I could write a whole thesis about it, not a thesis, but I can write a lot of words about what I'm grateful for, the children being covered, being healthy, being provided for, working from home, having heat, uh, my plants. I mean, there's so many things. You guys having Wedgewood for the last 8 years. Wedgewood has helped me out a lot, especially when I first got here. Chris was wonderful to me. So a whole lot of things I can be thankful for. Big and small, big and small. We can go on.
And doesn't it feel good when somebody shows gratitude to you?
Yeah.
Doesn't it just warm you all over the smallest thing of gratitude?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Sometimes
small
for
things
things you never
sometimes.
even thought about that you did.
Right. And sometimes when someone shows you gratitude, it's like surprising, like, well, thank you, and when someone is good to me, I want to go be good to somebody else, like you said, hold the door open to someone, buy the food for the person that's behind you in the takeout, say hello to someone that has a pretty dress on. I do that a lot. I give women compliments, but it's just like these small little things that you can make someone feel not alone in the world because you don't know how people are feeling. They could feel alone. Someone say hello, or you look so pretty today, might make their whole day,
Yeah.
Yes.
might
Small
make
things
their
that
whole
aren't so
day.
small.
Yeah, I speak to a lot of people on the phone, and I'll speak to a lot of elderly people, and sometimes we just have really quick conversations that are really warm, and the patient would say, "I'm so glad that I was supposed to speak with you today." I said, "I was supposed to speak to you today, and we were supposed to give each other that love, that we had this short conversation. It's like maybe a 10-minute thing, but that 10-minute conversation really warmed up this person, and that person really warmed me just because of that quick connection, just." It's just casual conversation, but we connected. And it's just wonderful when that happens. You don't know when it's going to happen sometimes, especially when you talk to people on the phone. Everybody's not so nice. But when you meet someone and they're so warm and so welcoming, and you can give and they can give, and you at the end of the phone call, it's like, wow, that was so nice. That was beautiful for that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many things to be thankful for. And I read this book about gratitude, and it says you have to be mindful like every day you would be mindful like little things. And when those little things happen, like those, someone saying something nice to you or someone paying for your fast food or something like that, then you just write it down. At the end of the day, you see all the things that happened during that day or happened during that week that you might have overlooked because we're always moving and grooving and doing our thing. So I like to
Other thoughts?
I'm grateful for this reminder to like pause and remember to be grateful because it can be so easy to get caught up in your own life and your own mess and allow things that are stressful to get to you unnecessarily. Um, but it is like y'all have been saying, it is so important to stop and pause and be grateful because there is so much to be grateful for. And it can be hard to remember that, especially with everything that's been going on in the world. But I think we'll get through it by having that gratitude and that hope and community and leaning on each other. That's how we get through it. And we're not going to do that unless we have these moments where we remember to be grateful for the things that are going well, because that's what's going to give us strength to deal with the things that we struggle with.
And I always, when we have a delivery, whether it's food delivery or something we've ordered in FedEx or whatever, I've noticed I always say to the person who delivered, "Oh, thank you so very much, and be safe out there. Be safe." And they always look at me like they're so surprised.
Yeah.
So I don't think they get a lot of that. And I say, "We really appreciate your hard work delivering this. Thank you." So
Mm-hmm.
think about the person checking out at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, and I hope you
Mm-hmm.
have a great Thanksgiving or a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Those are ways to show them gratitude. And if you
Mm-hmm.
do it, you're gonna notice that they must not get that very often.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, were you gonna say something? Thomas?
Yeah, I'll talk again in January about this more, but I'm thankful that my left arm works.
Hmm.
Back in April, I wasn't sure that was going to be the case.
Absolutely. Health,
Well,
so important.
you take for granted that your arms and legs work, and when you come to realize that it might not be the case, you become thankful when that working returns.
And I think that in the months ahead, we may have the opportunity to show our gratitude to the LGBT community, to our trans brothers and sisters, to our immigrants by standing with them and supporting them through their difficult times. I think our actions will show them a lot and that we appreciate them.
Yeah, it's so important because a lot of people are very scared right now.
Yes.
And when you're in that mindset of being scared because you don't know what's going to happen, it can be hard to remember to be grateful because you're like, should I be grateful because I have all these other things happening?
Yeah. Any other thoughts on gratitude? I like that word. And I like showing it in action, not in word, not just in words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm really grateful for Wedgewood. I've shared my story before. I think it was a couple years ago now, but um, I left the Christian church when I was 19 because became very disillusioned with dogma, and the church I had been attending was, led by a man, and it was very patriarchal and things that I just didn't agree with. And I was on my own kind of spiritual exploration of questioning things, and so I didn't attend anywhere for over a decade. But I had moved to Charlotte for grad school, and I'd heard about Wedgewood because a friend of mine was in the trans community, and at the time, Transcend was meeting in the basement of Wedgewood, and they had the clothing closet, and I donated some things. So I had been to the campus before and knew of it, and I was just so impressed because I had never really been exposed to a church that was so affirming. Uh, and that planted a seed. And then a couple years later, when I moved back to Charlotte, I was like, I had been feeling for a while that I've been missing having a spiritual home, but I was craving that, but I didn't want a place that was going to tell me what to think and what to believe, that celebrated my autonomy and the fact that I had my own mind. And I started going to Wedgewood in 2018 and have never looked back. And Wedgewood has been such a safe and soft landing place for me during so many things that I've gone through since then in my life. And I don't know what I would do without Wedgewood because it's so different from every other place. It's truly interfaith. I love the fact that we're lay led and democratically led, and so we can all share. It's not one person talking at you every week. I'm just so grateful because there's no other place like Wedgewood.
No, and in light of that, I have to say have so much gratitude for Chris Ayers, who led this church to this place and
Yep,
had so much courage in
yep,
spite of his, services interrupted, and he got all
mhm,
kinds of threats with
yep,
the LGBT community. And I'm just grateful for his courage and his
yep,
persistence to stand. And we have the Wedgewood we have today. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for his
yep,
courage and his commitment to all people.
yep. You're right about that.
Any other thoughts before Ashanti closes us out?
Oh, okay.
Why don't we send Chris a thank you card?
I can
What?
do that. That's a good idea. I will tell him we thought about him this Thanksgiving. I will do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that would be great. Chris is a unique kind of guy in more ways than one,
Oh, yes.
and he even with his oddness, I say oddness, even with his oddness, he was still a loving man, a courageous man, a giving man, a good soul, a really good soul.
And I have to tell this kind of funny story about Chris, but it's not funny. Chris had such a heart for people that when he retired, we found that half of the homeless people in Charlotte had keys to Wedgewood Church because he had told them if they had nowhere to sleep in the winter to come and sleep. And we were finding beds in the church that would just appear, and we were like, who was here? Who was this blankets over here? Why? And we had to change all the locks because we
Yeah,
found he had given, bless his heart, he had given keys out. He felt like it was wrong to have that empty, warm building and
yeah,
people freezing
I
outside.
remember that. I remember that.
So he had a heart for everybody.
Everybody. And when you have a heart, you can't help it because that's just what you do, it's just what you do.